Hello, my name is Maya Carroll, and welcome to my presentation on the impact of nature or green space in urban settings. As I am sure you are well aware, this is Environmental Science D001 with Instructor Pothenroff. Introduction. Throughout time, people have spent most of their time outdoors, and it became helpful for survival to adjust to and associate with one's surroundings. However, in modern history, people have transitioned indoors and have had less and less connection with nature and green space. I want to start with a big picture and then focus my presentation. First, if we examine the research looking at the impact of nature on psychological or physical health, we find that there are a lot of studies in this area. Research exists that examines the effects of nature on everything from aggression to impulse control to child development. Studies also examine how being in a variety of settings, such as the forest, impacts one's health. Additionally, there are studies showing how being physically active within a green space improves well-being and health. Furthermore, there is research demonstrating a link between feeling connected to nature and other positive mental and physical experiences. One study showed a correlation between people who feel connected with nature and having positive mental health, feeling that their lives have meaning, and having high energy levels. Another study established an association between feeling connected to nature and overall happiness. In today's fast-paced society, many people live in cities for occupational and social reasons. For many of these people, it is not always feasible to go hiking in the mountains each week. Therefore, if it is true that nature improves psychological health, it is important to find ways to incorporate nature into an urban lifestyle. Hence, the focus of this paper narrows in its scope to the impact of nature or green space in urban settings. This is not the only way to narrow the focus, but to consider the idea of bringing nature into the city or urban areas. Studies have hinted, oh, Studies have hinted that stress and drowsiness can be reduced by exposure to nature. One such study looked into this idea further by examining nature's impact on stress relief by using blood pressure as a measure of stress. They also examined focus as well. The researcher took 15 residents of an elderly care home and measured focus, stress, and heartbeat per minute. Then, they had them take an hour break, randomly assigning them to either an outdoor garden or to remain inside. Interestingly, both locations were places that the participants enjoyed. After their hour break, they retook the same measurements. While there were no differences in stress as measured by BP or rate of heartbeats, they did find that the participants who spent the hour in the garden had increased focus. So the findings. While there were no differences in stress as measured by BP or rate of heartbeat, they did find that the participants who spent the hour in the garden had increased focus. Moving to a greener environment. Data was taken over 5 years that illustrated that 1,064 British people, those who moved to a greener urban setting than where they used to live, had greater mental health over the 3 years following the move. Conversely, those who downgraded to a less natural urban setting showed less psychological well-being overall. However, not everyone has the means to move to a greener environment. What can they do? Well, they can have windows. Yes, even windows count as exposure to nature. The view one has from their window may determine their outcomes. A green view, such as the one shown on the left of the slide, is one in which the setting has natural elements, such as greenery, parks, and gardens, as opposed to urban elements like buildings, billboards, and streets, such as the window shown on the right of the slide. So green views versus urban views. What's the deal? One study has provided evidence that even in urban settings, having a window with a green view makes the people living in the homes happier about where they live. Furthermore, it also seems to raise their perception of overall well-being. However, windows showing urban views may make a person feel happy, but does not necessarily increase their perceived well-being. Multiple studies show the merits of having a green window view. For example, Ulrich led a study that illustrated that during gallbladder surgery recovery, patients who could see nature from their windows were able to check out of the hospital sooner and needed less intense pain medicine than patients without windows. While this study is specifically about physical health instead of mental health, it does show improvements if one works under the commonly accepted idea that it is easier to recover physical injury when one has reduced stress. Another study illustrated that people enjoy their jobs more when they have windows in their office. There are other ways to make an urban environment feel green and natural, like putting up pictures of natural settings and keeping indoor plants. Making urban environments feel more natural helps increase people's sense of well-being. It seems to make people care about the environment, and the thought is that people who have green decor might put more of an effort into conserving nature out in the world. Something as simple as looking at a picture of nature can make people happier and reduce stress. As we recently observed in one of our homework assignments, forest cities are one way that we might implement the results of this research again, making urban areas feel more green. The hope is to create a sense of well-being, reduce stress, and increase happiness in our cities. So, in conclusion, many studies have examined how nature affects cognitive health and mental well-being. Specifically, one study illustrated the ways in which spending time in an outdoor location can help increase focus. Furthermore, a study of data demonstrated how many people had improved mood and psychological health after moving to a greener setting. Next, windows with green views have been shown to increase happiness and perceived well-being as compared to windows with an urban view. And windows improve recovery after surgery and increase job satisfaction. However, there were some flaws in this research. Although this presentation highlights investigations utilizing experiments, one flaw in the collective research in this field is that the overwhelming majority of analysis on this subject is observational studies instead of experiments, which are more concrete in their findings. Moreover, many of these studies were vague about what they considered green. Another problem with the research field in this area is that it tends to disregard findings from fields such as epidemiology, which is the study of how to control the spread of disease. Also, despite the overall positive outcomes of most studies, the specific effects, such as the timing, location, and population, are unclear. Finally, many of the studies left out how extreme their reactions were, along with the duration to which they lasted. Final words. In urban settings, people do not have much interaction with green space and nature. Most research shows that having natural environments in their communities can improve well-being and psychological health. Unfortunately, the reasons for these positive effects are uncertain. Thus, there is more to be studied and understood about the connection and causality of how green space impacts physical health and well-being. Literature cited. Thank you so much for watching my video on the impact of nature or green space in urban settings.